Life has this fascinating habit of saying no exactly when you're celebrating the yes in your head. Ask me how I know. Hello, everyone. I am Manya Patel from Navrashna School Sama. I am a student athlete and a student leader, which means I spend most of my time trying to balance my sport cricket, my academics, and my school responsibilities. That being said, last academic year I was the house captain of Sapphire House. I loved that role. I put my heart into it. I took on every responsibility that came with it. And quite often, a few that didn't. If responsibility were a stray puppy, I'd probably be the first person to bring it home. So naturally, with the next year student council applications opened, I applied. Of course I did. I applied for the position of president, the highest position in our student council. And honestly, it seemed very obvious. Nobody really doubted it. My friends, my seniors, and I too believed that I would get it. I'd already practiced saying thank you to all of those congratulations. I'd already given my Deepika Padukone wave to the crowd at least 10 times in my head. And of course, I got it. Well, only if that's how life worked. I didn't. And I was left so confused because for the first time in my life, I was faced with something I think all of us face sooner or later. What do you do when you have done everything right and things still don't go your way? In fact, that question followed me far beyond the council results. I had seen it before, many times, on a cricket field. Now, cricket teaches you a lot of things. It teaches you discipline, it teaches you resilience, it teaches you how to smile after getting out on a duck and pretend you're emotionally stable. But more than anything else, cricket taught me something unexpected. It taught me how little control we actually have. You can train for months, analyze every weakness, and still get bowled by a ball you never saw coming. I have had matches that I prepared for all month and walked back to the pavilion with a grand total of 0 runs. The coin toss lasted longer than my innings. Now that was a difficult conversation between me and my coach. And when I thought about it, academics are very different as well. I have had exams for which I revised chapters, solved papers, walked into the classroom with full confidence only to score lower than I expected. And then there are exams where I walk into the classroom with 2 hours of sleep preparation that was hanging on by hopes and survive the entire exam on nothing but a tiny amount of caffeine and managed to get the highest score. That is when I started wondering if efforts and outcomes were IPL rivals, both competing for their sixth trophy and completely refusing to acknowledge each other's existence. And when I really thought about it, I realized this wasn't just happening in cricket, my school, or my academics. It was happening everywhere. Life, for some reasons, refuses to sign contracts. And its customer service has been impossible to reach. So, if anyone here has been able to reach their customer service, please meet me after this talk. Trying never guarantees you success, and life certainly doesn't care about the plans I have made for it. It looks at my step by step plan, says, not interested, skip, and moves on. But like most people, I wanted the assurance. I wanted to know that if I tried hard enough, the outcome would eventually make sense. But I don't think that is what life is offering us. And that is very strange. Because all of us grew up hearing versions of the same idea. Those who work hard never fail. Try hard and you'll get what you deserve. But I don't think that's true. Because hardworking people get overlooked all the time. Good people miss opportunities. Talented people don't always get the outcome that they hoped for. That led me to think if life never promised us guarantees, then maybe getting to the outcome was not the entire point. So, I stopped measuring my wins by whether the outcomes turned out the way I wanted them to. I started believing that me trying was already me winning. Because if I hadn't applied for that position, I wouldn't have failed, but I also wouldn't have known. At least failure gives you something to work with. You can learn from it, you can look at it, it teaches you, you can even write a TED talk about it. But regret does not do any of that. It just sits there, asking the same question over and over again. And what's the most that could happen? Best case scenario, you get everything that you wanted. And worst case scenario, you gain a story worth telling. And who knows, you might even end up on a stage talking about it. Trust me, that one is not too bad either. So, if the outcomes, the win, was not the entire point, then what is? I think caring is. Caring enough to hope, caring enough to try. Having that hope in you is the entire point. And I think there is a lot of love in trying and a lot of love lost in not trying. There is love in applying for that position. There is love in walking onto the field. There is love in caring deep enough to risk the disappointment. One of my favorite quotes come from my favorite movies of all time, Spider-Man. When Gwen Stacy says, "We have to be greater than what we suffer. And even if we fail, what better way is there to live?" And I absolutely love that idea. Because I don't think she's talking about success. I think she's talking about showing up, holding on to that hope, and trying even when life offers absolutely no guarantees. None of us are promised success, but all of us are given the chance to try. And I think that chance deserves to be taken. So apply anyway, audition anyway, take that chance anyway, aim for that position anyway. After all, what is life if not a tapestry of dreams that we dare to dream and hopes that we refuse to abandon? Thank you.